guys. Hope you're enjoying the series of strengthening your bonds through sex for married couples. So I'm going to continue on in the same vein. If you haven't kept up with the discussion, this is about the third video. So just go to my page or go to my YouTube channel, Chalice Queen, and you can catch the rest of the videos there. That's Chalice, CHALLICE Queen, QUEEN. And I'm going to continue on in the same vein. So like I said, I wrote notes, so I want you to get everything. The whole purpose of these videos is to encourage good sex in marriage. We went over the last video and spoke about how sex is a weapon given by God to promote the unity and the connection in marriage. It's actually a weapon against the enemy. The enemy comes for the unity, the oneness of your marriage, as it was mentioned in Genesis 2 and I think verse 4, that for this reason a man shall leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So the whole point of it is to promote and stimulate that unity and that oneness that comes from our bond in through the bonds of sex in marriage, healthy sex, good sex in marriage, you know. So sometimes the enemy would use our emotions to block and barricade that time of sex. Sometimes it's the place of not having time to have sex, but there's always time to have sex. It's a thing where we have to make the time for our spouses to be intimate. That time of intimacy is important, as you would have heard through the last couple videos. Okay, so I'm not going to prolong it too much. I'm just going to give you a couple practical steps, especially for us women, because as we are multitaskers, we are diverse and dynamic. We are mums, we are sisters, and we are aunties, and some of us are even grandmas, and we are school teachers, and we are teachers at home, and we are the comforters, and sometimes we wear so many different hats. And then when it's time to wear the hat of a wife or become that sexy woman at night for our husband, it's sometimes so hard to make the switch from the one that changes the nappies and picks the kids up and cooks the dinner, the chef. It's so hard to put that hat on. But I'm just going to give some practical steps for husbands and wives in order that we can stay in the mood or get in the mood. Just some practical steps. And each person is wired different, so these are just all of these steps will not work for you, but you may find during this video there are going to be some steps that work for you. And if you haven't tried something before, try it. Try some of the stuff that I'm saying, and leave yourself open to try new things in regards to how to stay stimulated throughout the day for your husband. Okay, so some of the practical steps is to not start foreplay in the bedroom. Foreplay should start in the morning. And when I say foreplay, I don't mean like heavy foreplay. I mean just light foreplay, just some simple things like texting. How you doing, what you doing, what you wearing, just texting. I don't know how you guys do it, but just text. Make light banter, even sexual banter, flirting with your husband or flirting with your wife. It's the only ground where it's legal to do so. So you might as well utilize it. Extend your sexiness. Try your sexiness with your husband. Try your sexiness with your wife. See if you're good at it. Because to be fair, I discovered I'm not really one of those people that know how to be sexy. I'm confident, but I don't know how to be sexy. So that's a joke between me and my husband. He begs to differ, but I just don't find myself to someone that is that, anyway, straying from the situation. So texting, writing, leaving notes, messaging, light touching, light touching, pull the bra strap, light touching, play around, warm it up until it's time for the actual action to take place. That should be happening throughout the day. That is a very good tip. That should be happening throughout the day. Preparations in regards to like underwear, going out and shopping for your husband or your wife, getting fresh boxers that look crisp or silk boxers, whatever, making that effort. For the women, lingerie that enhances certain areas that your husband likes, the breast area or whatever your husband likes. Accentuate those types of areas through thought through lingerie. Don't overthink it when you go to buy the lingerie. Just remember it's part of the warming up process. So do go with the mind and the heart, with your husband in mind, and try to not be in your head too much. Enjoy the process. Enjoy looking at the lingerie and having a laugh at some of the items that are in the shop, and so on and so forth. So lingerie is a good way to get yourself prepared or to promote that level of foreplay throughout the day. Just going to have a quick look at my notes. I don't want you to miss anything out. And with light touching, when I say light touching, I mean just like rubbing your hands against the genital areas of your partner and so on and so forth. I mean, be mindful with light touching that it's not only about arousing yourself, but it's also about arousing your spouse. So don't do things that is overbearing or discomforting, or your spouse doesn't find attractive. I had a conversation with a young woman, and she told me her husband always flicks her in her breast area, and she's like, I don't like it. And he's like, yes, you do. And she's like, I don't. And it's just that place of not paying attention and just being in it for yourself. It's more to be about what is good for both of you. What is good for both of you. Getting each other to that level of arousal that you can, be at a high point so that you can enjoy your intimacy. Just going to quickly look at, again, preparation. You can prepare a room, candles, music. It's like the tone that usually can get you quite stimulated as well. It's just the thought, just knowing what you are preparing for your spouse, your husband or your wife actually stimulates certain hormones and gets your endorphin levels starting to spring into action, and so on and so on and so forth. For men, they don't tend to have that that complexity to get them into a state of arousal as a woman. As I explained at the beginning of the video, that's just due to the many hats that we wear as women. So we have, as my husband likes to say, different knobs. So this day you can turn this one and it works, and the next day it doesn't work. So it's about being somewhat intuitive. I mean, engage as men. I just want to encourage you to engage in the fact of that place of discovery. You were made to be a hunter. You were made to discover. You was meant to take the prey and kill, so to speak. So not in a less violent way, but take that instinct into the room or the sphere of your wife and begin to feel her out. Try and see how you can get going intuitive, like you're trying to get her to a place and a goal, but it's about intuitiveness, listening, hearing, listen to her breathing tone, what comes out of her mouth, what she says, how looking for the signs of arousal. If you are married, you should know the signs when your wife or your husband is aroused, and be able to deal with, or should I say, I want to say technical, assist with their needs for intimacy and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to check my notes one more time, just make sure I've got everything out. Candles, candles setting the mood, underwear, light touching, foreplay, through texting. They call it sexting these days. I don't know what they call it. Just remembering that the knowledge of, sometimes just knowing that you're preparing to have sex with your spouse is enough to make you aroused and everything. So, I mean, you can do things like taking showers together, bathing together. One thing I must say is a very good key for stimulating yourself, for not yourself, that creates stimulation for having sex, is conversate with your husband, conversate with your wife, talk to them about what you like, what they like. You know, like I said, avoid arguments in this area, but do speak, talk, communicate. Communication is key, and it is one of the ways to enter into intimacy. Speak. I mean, you can start off with superficial conversation, just like, how was your day? Just, I mean, things that are just quite superficial and like, but do take that journey into deep conversation, because it stimulates intimacy. So I'm just going to leave it right there. I pray that this has been some sort of a blessing to you, and just help and a help to you in some formal way. My heart and my desire, and I believe it's the heart and the desire of God, is that as Christians, as believers, as married believers, that we will have good sex, and we should have a good sex life. I know not all believers have bad sex life. In fact, I know a lot of believers that do have good sex life, but it's a heart to just stimulate and help and aid and assist in that way, in some sort of, because I know this is an area that the enemy actually tries to fight in. So my encouragement is to you, go have more sex with your husband, go have more sex with your wife, and I leave it there. God bless you all. Bye bye.